Hey, you know me. If you'll let me, I'll have our retirement mapped out before New Year's. You're okay with Florida, right? Yeah, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I'm sorry.
Do you have any thoughts about how you would like to deal with this film?
Brusquely. Rudely. I don't know. Let me take my sweater off. I'm going to get started with that.
Okay.
This movie made me so mad. There's no way that I'm going to get through it with all my clothes on. I don't even care how short this episode is.
So I have to confess, before we even get to the theme, I found this movie by, I don't even remember what search I did, but it was a Google search for something like most messed up recent Hallmark movies.
Hallmark movies fucked up what are.
Yeah.
Torrent.
I will, express my esteem for the list that I encountered from which I picked this, because there were like 5 or 6 on there that I knew, and I was like, that's absolutely correct.
Well, that was pretty fucked up. That was weird. She married her nurse.
So I was kind of expecting like, okay, well, maybe we get thrown a curve. Maybe this is somebody from recently who doesn't really know how far and how sideways they can go. And boy, was I wrong.
Nope. Whoever made that list, I got to tip my cap. Was this number 1 on it?
I think this was actually not even in the top 5. But
Wow.
I recognized something in the top 5, and then there were some other things where I'm like, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
I was discombobulated watching this one. I felt like, I know it's been a minute since we talked about a Hallmark movie. I have watched some in the interim, just like, in the background.
Just to stay limber?
Just to stay loose. It's like the equivalent of like long toss down at the spring training facility. No one's having me. I'm throwing off flat ground. I am not stretched out. But I don't know that any of the stuff that we'd seen, for years would have prepared you for what was going on in this one.
Colby's plane crashed off the Gulf of Aden. That's right next to Yemen.
I wouldn't read too much into it.
I have to talk to General Anderson.
You know what time of year it is? It's Christmas time. I gotta tell you something real about Christmas. Fuck you if you don't like Christmas. Fuck you if you don't like Christmas. Yeah, that's right. It's not even about Jesus. It's about the holiday. You gotta respect the holiday.
Broadcasting from the beautiful Uncanny Valley, it's Christmas Town with Dave and Jeb, your source for highlights and analysis of the films of the Hallmark Network, movies made for the gentlest of people. I am your dead dad, and joining me... and joining me is the strand of Christmas lights I speak through, David Raw.
Like, I can't believe you're really here.
Merry Christmas, Dave.
The fact that you're really here really pulls the rug out from under all of the stuff that had come before, but I'm very happy to see you. And Merry Christmas to you, Jeb.
Thank you for doing this. And for people who are wondering, our backlog is currently, I'm still trying to edit another 5-person talking thing for the Hanukkah episode. And I foolishly thought I was going to make some progress on that. And then...
it's just me and 4 Jews. How hard could it be?
Like, nobody's going to interrupt.
Yeah.
Not going to have to go back. You're not going to have to pull bits out because somebody is like honkingly laughing over an amazing reply. And you're like, I got to save that thing. That thing's good. So thank you for doing this with me. And I think I'm actually quite glad that other people aren't here for this, because I think it would be too distressing for normal people.
This is 100% the front of Lenny's house falling off. Jeb and I are there eating beans in our underpants saying, don't tell anyone how we live. That is, this is like a throwback in the way that like we've managed to, I think, keep a lot of the really fucked ones that we've watched in the last year kind of siloed. Like, no one else was there for the one that was just like an avalanche safety video with rom-com attributes, right? That was just us.
I haven't actually been trying, but once I kind of, I read the description and I watched a little bit of it just to kind of get a taste. And I was like, this is not Well, first of all, it wouldn't be much of a stopgap thing if I was like, hey, let's do a quick one that maybe I can edit faster and let's start adding other speakers.
Yeah.
But the other one was just like, I think this would throw people, like just putting your automatic transmission into reverse at about 50, trying to grapple with most of this.
Yeah.
And I think, talking people through the trauma and recovery wouldn't leave a lot left for the plot.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of, even though it's one thing.
Yeah,
kind of.
I guess. I mean, I feel like this is one of those things where one of us is going to do the expositional challenge, and there's like the 4-sentence version of the movie's plot.
Yes.
But then as we go through picking up the stuff that was left out, this could be a 3-hour episode, like just as we continue to remember different things that we're already working to forget. Should we get straight to that? Do you want to do it, or do you want me to do it?
Yeah,
or
before we do that, I need to go ahead and do the cast rundown so that the expositional challenge is less of a hassle, because also I have to do it again.
I can do it if you'd rather.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. It's my turn.
Right.
So we watched 2022's Christmas Bedtime Stories, which is in the top 10 of the most messed up recently. Our female lead, Danielle Ames, is played by Erin Cahill. She's a widow and a school teacher at a Marine base of some sort. The last time we saw Erin, I think the first and only time, was when we saw Love, Fall, and Order with the uncomfortably Aryan Trevor Donovan, who fucked off exclusively to GAC.
Mm-hmm.
The Great American Family.
Yeah, good luck to Trevor Donovan.
Yep, there to be watched by as many as 24,000 people in the middle of the day.
Yep.
We also watched that with our friend Meredith Haggerty, and I don't remember if that's the one where the audio was so messed up that we punted it just to Patreon, because at the time I did not have the skills to unfuck it. But it is a fun one. It is a weird one. She has a good track record of picking really messed up Hallmark movies to do.
Yeah. Shout out to Meredith Haggerty. Unless you're talking about Erin Cahill, in which case, shout out to Erin Cahill. She picked a weird one here.
No, Erin Cahill, but also Meredith did have a good radar. I think all the ones that we did 3 were deeply perverse. But moving on, cast-wise, our male lead for most of it, Steve Lund, no relation.
Jeb's dad.
Plays Pierce Hammond. Steve has done some Hallmark work before, but nothing we have seen. And I just want to say something about a role he had, Dave. I'm kind of cheating on the IMDb thing. Did you already see this?
I didn't, actually. I have a couple of weird ones for other characters, but I'd love to hear this.
Well, he has been in several films, including one called Escaping the NXIVM Cult, a Mother's Fight to Save Her Daughter. David, can you guess the name of the role that Steve Lund played?
Did he play the dude? Is he the fucking guy?
He did not play Keith Raniere. He played somebody you're never going to guess, but you're going to clap like a child when I tell you who it is.
All right. I'm working my way back here. So you've got...
It's not Allison Mack either.
It's not Allison Mack, but Allison Mack was in Smallville. So maybe he played Smallville star Tom Welling in the film?
No. Would you like me to tell you?
Yes, very much.
He plays Casper Van Dien.
Wow. That's fucking great. You know, something that the mainstream media has tried to keep concealed about Casper Van Dien for a long time is that he's from the same town that I am.
Interesting.
Yeah, Ridgewood, New Jersey. Anyway, I'm from Ridgewood, New Jersey, and I say, kill them all.
Well, that fits. Anyway, we have...
What was Casper Van Dien's role in the fucking NXIVM cult?
I have no idea. And I listened to, I don't know, like 4 hours of... Karen Geyer covered NXIVM on her Cults podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember listening to a lot of... I do not recall Casper Van Dien.
Good. I hope he wasn't that involved.
For Danielle's daughter, Audrey Ames, we have Allison Comer, who also hasn't done anything that you and I would need to talk about here,
She's
David.
a child.
Yes. Victoria Dunsmore plays Jane Wren, who is, we believe, Danielle's younger sister. It's like a sisterly thing, but it's not really clarified in what way. I thought maybe for a while she was a sister-in-law, actually.
Yeah.
Then we have Tegan Moss as Sophia Anderson, a math teacher at the high school. She was in Love in Glacier National Park from episode like 1 or 2 back. You can't miss it. Charlie Weber plays Major Colby Ames. Charlie's probably most recognizable as the fixer guy on How to Get Away with Murder. He was the main cast for the whole series.
90 episodes.
But he also guested on House, Reaper, and Veronica's Mar, which is smart of him. We're all fans of them, as well as Burn Noise.
Burn Noise. So that's a good one. Probably had to go to Florida for that.
You're okay with Florida, right?
That's right. And then we have Extasia or Extasia Sanders as Lisa Johnson. She is a fellow, we find out, military widow and an old friend. We have Sarah Kelly as Sergeant Lena Wilson, who appears at the beginning and then disappears. Jerry Trimble is General Tony Anderson.
Not all Tonys are baloney.
Known for many things that you and I have enjoyed, including Supernatural and iZombie. But I want to make a note here of his role in Super Ninjas.
I thought that was not where I thought you were going.
Well, that's about some young boys who learn how to become ninjas with the training of their grandfather, George Takei. It's, I don't know, like 18 years old. So
Trimble must be a martial artist because all of his early credits are Bolo Young movies called like Punch Fighter. And then he's in Heat.
Oh.
He is I believe, the first member of the Heat cast to appear in a Hallmark movie that we've watched anyway. There might be one with Ted Levine in it. I don't know. Wes Studi. Like, it's possible, but we haven't gotten to it.
What's the music cue we should play to honor every time the Heat universe emerges here?
Weird arpeggios from the end after the shootout.
I never really got why that became a thing. Like, I maybe we talked about this on one of the bonus episodes. I never got how Heat became like the thing that everybody watched and took very seriously. In the same way that like Michael Clayton was amazing when it came out. I really enjoyed it. But why it became a thing where everybody's like, dude, you know that baguette meme? Post it. Like, I don't get that.
I think that it is down to the fact that there's like 6 or 8 movies that show all the time on cable. I mean, obviously, I know that fewer and fewer people have cable now, but that like Michael Clayton is a movie that like if you saw it once all the way through, you've probably seen the equivalent of it. It's like the way that microplastics accrue in your body.
Right.
That's how like Heat and Michael Clayton and Step Brothers and I'm trying to think of other ones that sort of like work that same way. For a long time, Glengarry Glen Ross, Shawshank Redemption were like that. Just things that are like on the Turner channels a lot.
Yeah, I get maybe, I don't know, maybe because there were fewer plastics in everything when Columbo came out. That's why it took until 2014 for everybody to be like, beloved show for 40 years. I just discovered it.
Yeah, right. Stylistically,
Thanks,
this would be a thing to emulate. Yeah, it is. It's good. I just invented it.
Anyway, we've gone a little bit far afield. So we also have Jamal Johnson as Rick, a work buddy to our male lead, Pierce, and Michael Minear as Aaron Lakeland. I'm not even mentioning that. I don't know who that is. Never mind.
Yeah.
That's it. Now I basically have a minute to get this out. If I hit 69 seconds, that's the sex number, and so it counts. There's also a grace period. If I go over, you're going to have to hear the Price is Right sound. David.
I will start when you start.
Okay. We open on a snowy motherfucking gazebo with something that sounds like a Christmas love song produced by and exclusively on sale at Walmart. Danielle Ames, she's a widow and she's collecting all the toys for the toy drive. And then her boyfriend, Pierce Hammond, comes up and he's like, would you like an entire truck of toys, milady? And she's like, yeah. And then he's like, hey, we should get married. And she's like, but we've only been dating for 7 months, but you've been my best friend for the last 3 years because you're my husband's best friend and you've taken care of me ever since you disappeared. And also you're taking care of my daughter. And then Aaron spends the whole movie just going like, but what if I'm scared? And then what happens is the thing she's scared about is something she has to tell her daughter a bedtime story about. And then the people who are in the bedtime story suddenly show up the next day and they all have the same message. Do whatever it is you're already doing. I support you. Let's move on to the next stage. Level up. And then she finally reaches the end where she has accrued enough regret points and nostalgia intensity to bring her husband back from the fucking grave. And then they kiss.
That's real, by the way. 62 seconds.
Nice.
Yeah, go ahead. That's right. You know what? You deserve that.
Thank you.
We deserve that. So it's hard.
Have you heard the Californication album?
Oh, shit.
I swear that album is going to go down in history. What the Chili Peppers can do is so inspiring.
Sorry, that's from the other Patreon bonus thing that Maura and I are doing where we watch the show about the time-traveling bog that Andy McDowell has on
Andy
our farm.
McDowell's time bog.
Yeah, it's basically, it's like the thing that's finally going off the air, Outlander. It's like if Outlander didn't fuck. It's that.
Well, a lot of people have been clamoring for just that sort of thing.
If Outlander wasn't about getting closer to somebody you wanted to fuck, but just talking more to your mom. That's it. That's the time traveling bog show.
I'm glad the Chai Peps exist in that universe. That's reassuring. Just cannonballing into the bog over and over again, hoping to surface in a time when Anthony Kiedis is not prominent.
Well, if you go far enough back, you get to a point where, like, I guess, sort of Pangea shears away any notion of what California is. So in theory, you wouldn't be able to have any songs about it then.
Yeah, that was an age when blood, sugar, sex, and magic all existed, but they had not been brought together, into a whole.
He would actually just wind up rhyming Lemuria, wouldn't he?
Yes, you can't stop him. You can put Anthony Kiedis. So this is why a lot of people get mad at me when I say stuff like Anthony Kiedis is a bucket or Anthony Kiedis is a problem. But I feel like in any era, he would be able to go out there and just get his. It's light work. You'll notice that we're avoiding talking about this movie.
Yeah, I left some stuff out. There's a daddy-daughter dance that Audrey doesn't want to go to because she's going to have to go with her mom. And then when Pierce proposes, it's like, oh my God, the solution's here. I'll go with my new stepdad. And then I kind of didn't really clarify how this happens. Like, this is that weird breed of movie that you and I were watching from like 2020 to 2022, where they would get 3/4, 4/5 of the way through the plot or something like that. And the two leads who had been together for the entire time are like, you know what we should do? We should break up. And the other one's like, I'm so relieved you said that.
Yeah.
I was coming here to do it for you. Friends, bye. And that happens here. And it is, I cannot imagine in any way how this guy's life wouldn't be totally devastated. And he's just like, okay, thanks.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? I was going to say that we're at different parts in our life too, actually. I agree with what you're saying right now. And Pierce is a pretty tragic character for a movie that is not a movie. All he does is be a fucking mensch in this.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, like, I don't ordinarily get mad at Hallmark movies. Like, I know what I'm getting into and I grade them on a very gentle curve. I was infuriated by this one. Like, I just feel like you got to play by some rules. Not because they like treated Pierce wrong and they were very nasty and unfair to our friend Pierce Hammond from the toy company. Nasty woman, Erin Cahill. But I actually have enough of a cold that I can kind of get into that register now, which is
I was
unfortunate.
actually clearing my throat before I did this because I didn't want to drop.
Whereas in the past, when we would like to do that voice, it would just be a pint of whole milk right before we hit go.
Yeah,
count it down.
That's how you get the Snickers bar down. Because what you want is you want the throatiness that comes from nougat.
Yeah, you want to be ass sliding. What do you with that?
God, what I wouldn't give to go ass sliding with you right now.
Same. I mean, obviously. In this movie, like, what I thought it was a type of Hallmark movie that we've seen, which again is like not really a type of movie that exists, but like she works through her grief and she learns to move on and how to sort of be a more attentive and, caring partner and mother, even though while, continuing to honor the memory of the man she loved. And that is a type of Hallmark movie. Like we've watched some that are like, like I was mentioning earlier, like ones that involve avalanche safety. But then there have also been movies where it's basically about modeling good behaviors for people that might not otherwise know theoretically how to do that. The iconic Pumpkin for Clendathu is a good example of that.
I was going to say the almost famous of brain cancer, which was just like, how do you travel the country on a bus with your mentor who is dying on a schedule?
And like that movie wasn't like much of a movie. Like it didn't have a lot of like romance or anything in it. But like I appreciated what it was just because of the fact that it was kind of sincerely about a real thing in a way that was like so pokey and earnest that it didn't deliver any of the pleasures that a movie would deliver. But like I wasn't mad at it for all that.
Well, it was human, right? It's like they did a very good job. Like the acting wasn't Hallmark overstated. It wasn't like the fully nuanced performance you would want from like an A-list performer, right? And it's certainly given the plot that they had to deal with, which is herky-jerky and it kind of spasms from one feeling to another. Like they were nevertheless like just emphasizing like this is how to be good in this circumstance and resemble a person. And they started that here.
And I think that's like nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this case, I thought that they were trying to do that. And there are moments in this movie where, and this is one of the bits I will give it credit for, is that there's not a lot of like assuming the worst or like making the pee face but not saying anything or like any of the stuff that like can be annoying in these. There's a lot of conversations where people sit down with each other and say exactly what they mean, with no artifice or real craft in the writing, no humor pretty much ever in it. But they do get together and they're like, I've been having a hard time with my grief. And then someone says, yeah, that's a relatable thing. Here's what I do to manage it. And here's, some community support and so on and so forth. It's not the worst thing in the world.
In addition to that, you had the best friend who normally would be sort of like covetous of like, here's how I can maximally help. Was like, I think you should talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
That you've specifically mentioned who would be able to help with this issue far more effectively than I can. I was like, wow. Normally you're sort of like, well, the bestie's going to take care of it. And it was nice to see the script going like, my being a bestie here isn't necessarily the best resource.
Right. There's people that know more about this experience. It did have that sort of like the training video feel to it.
Right.
And so when, as you said, very late into the movie, this guy who has been presumed dead for years, Danielle has been told by this guy's commanding officer, by a bunch of different people, he died just because they never found his body. Like they blew up an airplane that he was on over a big body of water. You got to let it go and move on with your life. And it feels like because he shows up out of nowhere with basically no explanation. I mean, he's like, I was in a camp and then the bomb went off and I ran out and I made my way to the embassy.
I didn't know it was the Americans who actually raided the compound until I got to the embassy.
Which is one of...
So I jump ship into Hong Kong, but I make my way over to Tibet, and I get on as a looper.
I won't bore you with the details of how I came from an underground whitewashed compound in Yemen to here, the suburban military base where we all live together, without anybody knowing or alerting you to the fact that I was here.
Only one person had crawled out before. That was the child. Not Bane.
Yeah, we're spoiling that too. Actually, we're spoiling. Dark
he didn't
Knight
leave
Rises.
Anything for the way back. No, that's a different one.
That's all right though. I mean, I like where your head's at.
I think we got to bring it back to Gattaca every few episodes.
But what's frustrating about the twist that they drop in here is that it cheapens all of the earnest but not very carefully wrought stuff that came before it, and it feels like the lesson is like never stop mourning this person that has died because they might come back. You never know.
Yeah.
Which is macabre.
It was sort of like at the last second, someone changed the ending and someone else said, well, should we change some of the setup to it? And they were like, nope.
No time. This movie's already on the air. Shoot the ending right now.
I'm not paying any extra for foreshadowing. Right? Like,
it's really baffling. And so of all the ways in which you get to the end of these movies and you feel slightly dumber for having watched it, which again is an experience that by now I find pleasurable and which I imagine you find somewhat pleasurable too.
Yeah, it's like nitrous oxide.
Yeah, it is. You can feel your brain cells dying, but it's not like that bad.
Yeah.
You're going to tingles.
Just don't be in the tub.
Yeah. In this case, I got to this is one of the very few times where I was like, oh, come on, dude. We're playing by the same rules here. I felt disrespected.
I was very annoyed for the same reasons that you were. I mean, I didn't particularly love the plot that I was watching, but I understood at least trying to tell in like a helpful kind of story. And at the last second, I was like, no, delusions are good for you.
Yeah.
The military told you, we have determined that your husband is dead because there isn't a shred of evidence substantiating that he's not. And you're like, you know what? I know better. He said that the Gulf of Aden was larger than Florida and they recovered the plane 1,200 feet down. But yeah, I mean, if they haven't found him yet, he must be alive, right? Like it's very, like it's destructive and it just wastes our time. But the other thing that really got me was that the thing I said in the plot rundown about it being a video game is like those stages where the daughter's story is almost premonitory. It's like she has to tell the story to incant the mage that she's going to find in the village the next day, who's going to teach her like whatever spell she needs to, get through the next woods, to find like the next, fairy who's like, oh, the mage is over there. And then they find it's so weirdly iterative. Like if you're going to be that dull and building, and the lesson every time that she's walking away from, because this happens like every time. It's like she goes in, she's like really distressed and flabbergasted to encounter a person that she hasn't seen in like 6 years, 7 years, whatever, 3 years. And she just immediately is like, that's exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Every time. And if that were the case, then it needs to make a difference. Otherwise, you're just like, well, this is an extremely pliable idiot who will say whatever people want to hear, but is going to continue believing something that's completely self-destructive, if not, just nuts.
And to give you a level of what I was willing to settle for. So it is hinted, I guess, in the movie that Colby, who we presume is dead along with everyone else for 80% of the film, is communicating with Danielle through Christmas twinkly magic.
Well, he is doing that, Dave.
That the lights are they dim sometimes, or they go out, or an ornament that was thought lost turns up in the mouth of Star, the golden lab dog.
Under a couch that has been in an area that's been searched and vacuumed numerous times.
Right. So I was ready to be okay with that. Like, I was ready to be like, all right. And so, like, what he's doing is, like, he is in the beyond, he is present, and he is trying to direct her to a new happy life after his passing, independent of living on the base, like, moving forward, whatever.
Yes.
That's corny, but I would have been like, all right, fine. And that wasn't, even then, it's like, so if he's not dead, this is just kind of like a series of God pranks.
Yeah.
This is a God prank Christmas.
My friends like to do God pranks.
Also, this is a nice time to mention, maybe we should have mentioned it earlier, that Nancy Grace has a story credit on this.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, given the fact that the end and the rest of the plot do not stack together at all, I'm wondering if she wrote, like, the last bit, and, like, that's just the tail end of a plot that was about a murder for pizza.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, like, I was thinking about her a little bit of late because it feels like we're kind of like, in some ways, just doing 2003 over again. But she doesn't get to be a part of it anymore because she's too old to be on TV, or people aren't doing that shit anymore.
I think she burned out her cred with a lot of people because, like, the outrage dial was
wrong about things a lot of the time.
Always up, and she was wrong, and she made a point of, like, placing a value on accuracy. Like, so you don't teach your audience to expect that. You're not going to get burned by it. But she still has, like, the Haley Dean mysteries, which are like a book series, and then those were adapted by Hallmark. So
yes. All right.
But yeah, I don't, like, if this was a plot from Box of Infants, damn it, I want some answers.
You have a really good recollection of Nancy Grace screenshots. I remember that being a sort of like pre-social media thing that you just get from the homies there. Get sent an image of Nancy Grace making the angriest face that anyone could make next to the words Box of Infants.
Yeah, but it would always be hashtag. So hashtag Box of Infants, hashtag baby and dryer, hashtag pot tot.
Oh, hot tot.
She hated the pot tots. Yeah, if your kid found an edible, that was it. She's gonna have you executed.
She was gonna have you held in a prison overseas for several years, but then break out.
Like what you're saying about the supernatural element, I was prepared for that too. I was convinced that what this was like every single person in her life is going to tell her the secular, reasonable reason why she should move on and why it's beneficial to her, but she's still going to be held back because, like, the number one thing you do if you're a Hallmark heroine is be afraid of, like, the simplest shit. And it was going to take her supernatural, goddamn return to life, dead soldier husband going like, go the distance.
Yeah, right.
Or something like that. And then she'd do it. And then when they were like, no, he's just here. He's out there. You see that at the end of the hallway where it's like bathed in light? Yeah, down there.
Yeah. By refusing to move on, you actually proved that you were worthy enough of this miracle at Christmas time. This guy is here. Great
miracle shit. The miracle of obstinacy.
Yeah. It's just like, the trailer where they recut The Shining so that it looks like it's like this is Shining. Like a very Shining.
I'm your new foster father.
This is like if you did that with Pet Sematary. Like you made it a romantic comedy.
So before the break, you brought up Pet Sematary, and that reminded me, I wanted to say before we dug into like any individual segments, what I thought was interesting was like how many bad elements of previous bad Hallmark movies were in here. Definitely the magical, like, yoink, plot reversal kind of thing was there. But for me, the one that really stood out was there's just a couple lines that a few people have, very much of a piece with the, I would never lie to you, Maura, from the first Wine Clown episode that we did, episode 9 or whatever it was, when we watched Lucky in Love. I have no idea what the name was anymore.
Is that the April Fool's one?
Yeah, what we watched with Jesse Apoyan.
Yeah. OG Wine Clown. We love his work.
Yeah.
Big fan of the sub-country musician. I don't remember who it was.
He wanted to take her to see Kenny Chesney.
Want to take her to see Trace Adkins.
He was like the least No Shoes Nation motherfucker. He was like, no, you can't have anything that's not on the prefix menu. Sorry.
Yeah. That guy was looking for a tannic red with great structure, and then he was going to go see Kenny Chesney immediately after that.
Yeah. Like he was going to take her to a Kenny Chesney concert, but at the same time, he was like, I can't believe you ordered fries. The fuck. Anyway, so like he was a really great example to me of the people who like, when they try to be gentle and mature, they sound a little too much like somebody who's dead center of the dark triad doing an impression of what human feeling is. And so you have a couple of these from
sanity vibes.
It might have just been the mood I was in. So I'm going to play these clips. And we'll see. And maybe we won't wind up talking about these, but I have a few of these. The first one, about 13 minutes in, Pierce and Danielle are outside and she's looking at something stirring and she says, "It's beautiful." And he says, "You're beautiful." And it's just early enough in the movie that I couldn't quite remember if like they'd actually gotten together or if he was just the best friend who was like,
they're like getting
there for her.
Yes.
Well, at that point, they had been dating for like 7 months, but the way, like, I don't know if there were insufficient details or I was too busy suddenly taking a note and I missed a key word, but it very much felt like he was like, "I'd love to take you home."
Yeah. "You're beautiful. Beautiful enough for me to wear."
Exactly.
How would you do that, Pierce?
Oh, wait.
And then just about 5 minutes later, she zones out thinking that she saw Dead Dad in his like Dead Dad in the Mustang's like satin jacket kind of thing.
It's Marine Corps varsity jacket that he has.
Yes, exactly. He wasn't quite filling it out like Vanderbeek.
No, it looked a little loose. But it was also, he would have been like, at that time, he was on like Gazebo Square doing some ornament shopping. She was like, "Kobe?" Right.
So she stares, she zones out, and like he can tell that she's haunted by something because the haunting starts early. And he asks her, some question, and she deflects.
Danielle, are you okay?
No, just a lot of happy holiday faces. We should get home and decorate the tree.
Okay. Sure.
Just like the deadness of the like, sure.
Yeah. You got it.
No, that feels good. I want to do that.
I'm into it.
The unalloyed enthusiasm that you might hear from a man when you're like, "Now listen, I know I promised we could have sex today, but I can't. But I was wondering if you'd like to help with some chores."
Yep. So a lot of that I have written in my notes for like that bit of dialogue, that scene in the beginning. And there's a lot of that in this.
Yeah.
It's like all TKs. That dialogue is there where it's like, I don't know, just fucking something. They're going to say something. She's clearly there, whatever. But like, we'll make it better before we start shooting. And then they just didn't ever do that part of the script. And that's 2/3 or 3/4 of the movie is that.
And then I thought it was funny that even the love of her life, Major Dead Dad, at their wedding, the vows sound like something he would write. Yeah, because you want your wife to hear them at the altar, but you also want like your parents' captors who are listening in on the telescope mic
to know that you're being treated well.
Right, that you're saying all the right things. And he says, "I pledge a lifetime of Christmases together. I will always come home to you, and I promise to always laugh at your jokes. I hereby affirm or certify that the
I will always come home to you" is one of those things too, where, I mean, I guess in some ways that's the foreshadowing there was that like a Marine's word is stronger than anything else. Like it has a magic all its own, capable of dimming Christmas lights and provoking ambivalence in those who are like its object.
Yeah, I don't even know why Christopher Nolan's remaking the Odyssey. I mean, this is it right here.
This is what it's all about.
It's just the one determination of some guy who got lost at sea.
That's basically what the Odyssey is, right?
Yeah.
Like pretty much.
He's like, comes back, he's like, "Sorry, baby, I was stuck in a whirlpool for like 3 years."
Yeah. This is like when former Miami Dolphin fullback Crash Jensen swam 1.5 miles or something. Who was that? Who was the Dolphins guy that said that he got pulled out in a riptide and then swam 1.5 miles?
What? I don't know. I have no idea.
This was like a story, and people were instantly like, "That's not possible." And then other people were like, "I loved Crash Jensen." But it was, anyway, that's not important. I'm way off topic.
It's fine. So those were my two things. Was just like, there was a hint of menace to this, and I wondered, maybe if these things wound up being slightly more dialed up or dialed down relative to a part of a plot that we missed, because again, I feel like the ending was twisted like a chicken's head to turn around and face backwards.
Yeah, hideously. Pazuzu style. It was not, so it was, we love Pazuzu on this podcast.
Friend of the pod, yeah.
I don't agree with him on every issue, but
it's spirited discourse.
Yeah.
Right? Pazuzu's entitled to his point of view.
Yeah. Was he kind to Jack McGowan? No, he was rude. He was terribly rude. But it was the 70s and people were different. They behaved differently at parties.
Men were men then.
Men were men. That's, and I'm honestly into bringing that back.
Just
that's
put
why
your key in any bowl.
Yep. That's why I've gotten Elliot Gould surgery to look more like Elliot Gould.
It's becoming more hirsute with time.
I had my face enlarged.
I'm having it accelerated.
I had my shoulders coated. But yeah, I think that your point about the way that like menace gets in around the edges of improperly sealed and caulked scenes, it's correct. It's also, again, I guess we've made this point now a couple of times, that used to be a much bigger problem.
Yeah.
Whatever, the fabrication factory that produces Hallmark movies has like gotten way better. So the fact that this is from 2022 is like surprising to me. Like this feels 10 years old.
Like it had been stuck in the vault. They'd already spent money on it. And finally somebody was like, I bet we can greenlight this. It really does feel like a throwback.
And yet it's kind of like all the people that are involved are like bluish chip Hallmark people. Like Aaron Cahill like works all the time there. So who the fuck knows? I mean, like they make 300 movies a year. Like it might be that sometimes you're going to get one that's got a little bit of asbestos in it, and that's just the way it is.
So just to find out what the chemical composition is, let's go ahead and do the segment bits. I think probably it'd be a little bit faster than normal.
Yeah.
Our first one usually is Spot the Angel, where we watch until an act break, and then we just make a guess as to whether anybody is maybe, supernaturally religious angel, supernaturally Santa angel, or an angelic community or friend in real life. In this case, David, it's a troop.
Yeah. It kind of feels like there's some troop angelical stuff going on here. Who did you have?
It's a troop. It's all things are possible through troops. It's the troop or a troop. It really doesn't matter whether you want to use the definite or indefinite article. I think the overall concept, like Hallmark's idea of troop is just sort of like, well, it's a basket that has all your ideas of troop in it.
Yes, right. It's extra, just a person who's extra good.
Yes.
And they get to wear a uniform. I think it's interesting. I would have said no angel, but then that's because most of the movie doesn't have that. And then, at the end, it is like armed forces magic that brings Colby back. Yeah, that is as much a divine intervention thing as any of the like Bow Bridges disintegrating after bringing Christmas magic back to Gazebo Town stuff that we've seen in the past.
On that note, one of the things I kept thinking of when I was seeing is he a supernatural troop was I kept thinking about those AI pictures from the Facebook group, The Humor Side, where it was just troops lying down with like 3-year-old kids in their pajamas and sleeping around them in like the kind of mandala of corpses that you would see at the start of like a Hannibal episode, except in this case, it was living troops and then full-sized African lions. And they were all protecting a little boy, except there'd be like somebody, like his mom would be like weeping and saluting a soldier who's also weeping and saluting.
Yeah.
And she's like, thank you for love. And he's like, no one thank for service. And that was,
150,000 comments that are all just like the praying hands or someone being like, God bless. Like an actual living grandparent whose brain is just a melting scoop of ice cream. Being like, God bless. God bless. Love troops. God bless.
Garlic bread.
What did you say the name of the place that created it was? The Humor Side?
The Humor Side. And
the
it was
humor
like,
side of
it
life.
was largely, I feel like it spent its time in the like, why there's gold in them thar minions memes.
Yeah.
And then it just switched hard over. It was like jokey memes, and then it was kind of stand-up-y stuff, and then it just kept evolving, and then it became AI slop.
AI slop with that was like eventually like the joke that they were telling was Jesus is made of shrimp.
Yes. Basically.
God bless.
Yeah, well, eventually, like
bless.
the words would descend into like, is that katakana? Is that what is it, Coptic? I don't know. Speaking of slop, though, we should move on to Eat Your Heart Out, which is the food in the movie and whether it reinforces the general air of being insane. I thought, no, I really didn't see anything that made me go, that ain't food. Like
No.
they had a fancy cake and it was like, that looks good.
Cake looked good. The ugly sweater party at which no one was wearing an ugly sweater. All of the drinks were in regular sized glasses that were normal. She was drinking some flat rosé champagne. Our guy Pierce was drinking a dark beer. Solid could have been a Nuki. He might have been on that Nuki. A Newcastle brown ale.
It was a little darker than that.
It was a little darker than that. Could have been.
At first I thought it was like,
could have been a porter.
Irish coffee?
So he was drinking a darker beer. Rick was drinking an amber ale, but they all looked like more or less right.
Mm-hmm.
Like every now and then you'll get one of these where someone has like a 14-ounce martini glass with a bunch of high C in it. And you're just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
We're all adults here. But like the wine looked like wine.
Yeah.
There was very little food in the film.
The only thing that they really attempted in a Hallmark sense was when the group family thing that they got invited to, and they were going to have s'mores. The friend Lisa, was widowed and then remarried, pulls Audrey aside so that Danielle and what's his name can talk about whatever. And she says something to Audrey like, hey, do you want a s'more? And Audrey's like, yes. Have you ever had one with mint? And it was like, of course, Hallmark couldn't just have it be a regular s'more because then they'd have to pay a copyright for the recipe.
It is also like, no one's deconstructing s'mores. Like you've never had them like this.
Like, no.
It's marshmallow, chocolate, and graham cracker.
It's not even meant to be good chocolate. It doesn't work if it's good chocolate.
Yes.
You cannot make this with good things.
The one food note that I do have in here, and I'm glad that the s'more one is like better and more befits the film that we're dealing with. But there is a moment where Pierce and Rick are having one of their periodic heart-to-hearts. They're at work. They have their lunches that they brought from home with them. You had this one as well?
I did not note it properly where I should have, so I overlooked it.
It's not important that they have their lunches. It's like mostly Pierce is like, plot exposition, and Rick is like, interesting, but what if more plot exposition? And then Pierce is like, good point. And then the little button on the scene is Rick going, that looks good, and then Pierce going, do you want to trade? And the things that they're saying look good are a wrapped half sandwich that looks like it has been boiled. The whole thing. And then Rick has just like the most dispiriting desk salad in a little Tupperware with a lid. And the idea of like either one of those guys just pulling off a lunchroom trade with their absolutely depressing gas station ass lunches does fit the general vibe of the proceedings.
Yeah, this chalk's pretty good. You want some?
You want some?
Would like to try that crayon.
You want to eat this pencil eraser? I brought it from home.
And normally here is when we would do the Hallmark Expanded Universe, and that's where we talk about other Hallmark movies or characters in circumstances that might overlap this or involve this reality. And unfortunately, this exercise over-indexes for whichever collection of like 15 or 20 movies Dave and I can remember at any given time.
Yeah.
And there's like a couple that are just always on the list, even though they're, I don't think, that notable within like the Hallmark oeuvre. And at this point, I feel like it probably is a pretty skewed impression of the Hallmark universe because I'm forgetting entire concepts like magic optometry. Like that was the first third of a movie that we watched. And I completely forgot that they were like, well, what if your optometrist can make you see like different reality?
That is true. I mean, I guess we're just keep going back to being like, when they were in the bookstore, it reminded me of Rachel Lee Cook.
Yeah.
Going bonkers.
You know what it reminds me of is stuff from episode 4. Yeah, a lot of things have reminded me of episode 4 by now.
Yes, but I think I think that's fair to say. I mean, in this case, it would just be like another movie that involved troops in it. Like we really haven't seen one that was just borked in a minute. So I'm happy to just keep it moving. And
just for the future's sake, I was going to say, like, suffice to say, right? Like if there's an idea in the universe that comes up and seems fun, we'll go with it. And if there's like a directly relevant former episode or movie, we'll talk about it when it's directly relevant. But like having to plug this spot each time is like, I think causing us to go back to a lot of wells that people are like, I was going to guess that you were going to say that. It's one of the 12 things that you mentioned.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't have that problem with any of the other stuff where we're asked to compare it to, say, regular movies or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll burn that bridge when we come to it.
We'll burn that effigy when we come to it.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Suffice to say, Colby Dead Dad, Dead Hub, is already in every other troop episode. Like I said earlier, like they cannot do a troop that isn't somehow like the combined bundled ideation of all goodness of troops, like incarnated at every second. So like Colby Dead Dad is in this movie. He's been in every other movie you've seen that has a troop in it.
Yep.
And he will be in every movie you see in the future that has a troop in it because it's just a troop. It's just one troop.
Yep. The troop. Like traveling through history, speaking with one voice about the subject of Christmas.
There's nothing that really says thank you like reducing your individuality to Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner. All right, so this one's overdetermined. And David, I would accept all. Specifically, it's supposed to be the part of the movie where like Hallmark overemphasized stuff that was already determined by the stakes that they established, the tropes that they use. I think that there are some candidates, but I really would accept all.
Yeah, I mean, like my temptation is to say all just in the sense that there's like every one of the recurring scenes, like all the flashback stuff where they're kind of like underlining the relationship that Danielle and Colby had and all of that, like is unbelievably oaf mode. And I think that and I think that flashback thing could have worked if they were more careful with it. As it is, it's just like giving Erin Cahill bangs and like different clothing.
Every wig they gave her was a fucking crime. Like, just let her do her hair differently.
Yeah.
Let her buy the wig. I bet she has more than $30.
Sure. Like the idea of going to like a spirit Halloween and being like, so this is from 10 years ago. So you are rock and roller. Put this on. No, put it on backwards. Okay. Yes, that way. That's what we want. There's stuff in there where I guess, like you said, like one of the big points of this movie is that troops are magic. And so the bit where like Colby lands in a blizzard, hops into a waiting Humvee and like spirits Danielle away to the hospital somehow because like being a passenger in a military Humvee makes unpassable roads passable. He never lets her down. He's always there, whatever. Like a lot of that, like I was rolling my eyes at it, not just because of the fact that it had the like the troops are magic thing, but there's a part of it where it's like, this is like a very easy thing to pull off. Like you can't, like, how are you taking a shortcut on this?
Yeah.
Everything to do with Colby. I mean, it is just, it doesn't even matter that it's not really a very interesting character. Like, none of these are very interesting characters. It's not a good movie, but it is also like everything having to do with that character and what he signals is a very good candidate for this.
Completely fine by me. And if my only options were those, I wouldn't feel slighted by picking them. But I thought that there was a 30-second period of this movie, maybe 45-second, where it was just, it went for broke. You had two completely different over-determined statements and sentiments within a 60-second period. The first is the best friend, high school math teacher, Sophia, who is basically cautioning Danielle not to use her trepidation and her wondering about what befell her husband as an excuse to not move forward. And then the next thing you see is her daughter on Santa's lap when they went to go see Santa, because her daughter's 6, and you know that's the time when you do that. The first comment from Sophia is,
"Merry Christmas."
Just don't put the brakes on the future in search of your past.
And like, fair play. I can't imagine there are many different ways to write that anymore. And you know, until we cross all of them off, we can't go back to using any of the other ones that were already used. So you got to get that out. And then the second one.
Search of your past.
What's your name?
Audrey. I'm turning 8 tomorrow.
Happy birthday. Now what do you want for Christmas?
Can you make my bear sing again with my daddy's voice?
Ooh, I have that one in my notes too.
Cheap shot.
Yeah.
None of the rest of the movie earned that hurting as much as it did.
Yeah.
And then also, like, it didn't need to go this hard.
Yeah.
It really didn't.
It didn't need to go this, also because they didn't fucking mean it. Dad's fine. Dad's coming back in like 20 minutes.
Yeah. He's got 3 of the bears.
Yeah. It's gonna say, it's like, you got him in Yemen at the airport.
Right.
You're just flying back.
He shipped back on an Amazon container from somewhere in China. We don't know.
Yeah.
Right? But it's everything there that's $1.99.
Yeah, this is a Lafufu. Now, it is not the ones that all the kids in school have, but it's the one that I was smuggled in a crate of.
It's not a Giorgio. It's Primo. You're not going to tell. Kind of pursuant to what we were saying earlier about the Hallmark Extended Universe, or what you were saying, David, it's crossover, and that's better or more entertaining mainstream fare outside of Hallmark's universe. Could be documentaries or reality or film or
Yeah, how about a book? Can I do a book?
You can do a book?
All right.
Yeah. What book did you have?
Seth Harp's The Fort Bragg Cartel, Jeb.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I think that this story being set in the real world of Fort Bragg, as described in Seth Harp's book, where it's special operations guys dealing drugs and shooting each other in the head and being all fucked up all the time. I think it would be a nice corrective to some of the stuff that tonally didn't sit right with me in this movie. And I think it would make for a much more interesting film.
Okay. I felt bad for Pierce, and I just felt like he's close enough to being around Marines that he deserves to go around with like Reacher's squad. Maybe he's the guy who just always has like the toys for like gimmick bombs and stuff. Yeah. But he deserves to like kill people according to an abstracted code that makes it okay when Reacher does it. I liked your piece on Reacher recently.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think that Pierce should be an honorary special investigator. I'm prepared to extend to him provisional special investigator status.
That's right. Okay, so this next one I think is a pretty fertile field. It's the Hallmark Voight Kampf test. That's basically, were there any characters in this who were very clearly not humans, but skin jobs? And I've gone over the explanation for this many a time, so I'm just going to skip it here. I had a couple of candidates. How many did you have?
Pierce was my number one, but there's a lot. I mean, like basically everyone that during her journey through grief and recovery, all of which, of course, is totally moot. Everyone that Danielle encounters is basically a Weyland-Yutani product in motion. But Pierce in general it's very rare. It is not unheard of, because it's still the Hallmark universe, to have your notional romantic lead be a skin job. But so much of the way that he behaves and reacts, not necessarily this Steve Lund's fault. I mean, it's an fucking impossible part. But that is...
I tell you, Dave, no Lund could pull it off.
No. And I know some good Lunds, all right? But yeah, I just... that was my number one choice. Who are your skin... Who are your guys?
Who are you guys?
Who are your guys?
I think that's a good call, because like the story of Job, if put in anything other than... if anything like a post-Enlightenment world, is a completely insane parable.
Yep.
And this guy is like, he's real silk shirt Job with the pussy. Kind of here.
Yeah.
It's
also, it's like, at the end of like the, Job suffers
the road
a great deal. And yet, crying, pleading in the rain. Well, we don't need to talk about silk shirt R&B dudes and how dedicated they were. There's a lot of him mournfully gazing at his beloved as she walks away. I guess I should have known it wasn't going to work out for him, but...
Yeah. There was so little wrong with him that you're like, well, she can't end up with him. How is she going to take a leap of faith where everything is fine?
Yeah.
Great, actually.
Yep. Never better.
So, yeah, he was a candidate. The ones actually that I settled down on, the ones that made me, I think, just snort the hardest, were actually when you were talking about the conversation between Pierce and his coworker, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to tell this bit, and I was going to be very upset. Pierce is explaining, why he's so confused at Danielle going back and forth. Like, she wants to get married. Like, she wants to pick a date for the marriage, but also she can't stop thinking about her ex. And he says,
it's a little complicated, with Colby. One minute I think she's over him. The next minute it feels like he might as well be standing right next to me. We met one of her old friends today. She didn't even tell her that we were engaged. And I just thought she'd be more excited.
It's the holidays, right? Everybody's got a million things going on in their minds.
Yeah, you're right.
Focus on the family having a good time.
That's right, Rick.
Rick, when I'm like seriously in love with somebody thinking about marrying them, I'm like, I don't think I can think straight about this because shopping, am I right?
Shopping,
it's
right.
crazy out there.
Yeah.
It's madness.
Rick does seem very motivated by, like, he's a helpful friend in the way that a skin job might be, like the replicant might be a helpful friend. The thing that he's convincingly the most excited about is like Christmas break, one more day of work until Christmas.
Yep.
If he is a replicant there, then the idea is like basically as soon as Christmas comes, he gets to be like, just power down for a little while. Like C-3PO, just all slumped until someone activates him again.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to shut down for a while. The thing with him is like, maybe it's not that he's a different kind of replicant. It's just that he's an 8-year-old replicant, but they installed that in the wrong body because he's like, hey, you want to swap lunch?
Want to swap lunch? Can you believe it's almost Christmas?
Yeah, we get to go home and all. It's like so crazy. Like I wouldn't even know how to like hold a girl's hand. I just keep thinking about Santa getting here.
That's a good concept. Kimmy Schmidt sort of scenario.
Yeah, like so much of this for everybody just does not feel like the software updated much past like high school sweetheart at the very latest. So the one that really got me, the one where I actually just yelled at the screen, was one of the storytelling bedtime story sessions that Danielle has with Audrey. This is, I think, about the third one in or the fourth one.
It's your big birthday party tomorrow. You excited?
So excited. What time was I born at?
Polly, what time were you born?
Yeah.
That already locates you in time. You don't need the at. It's fucking redundant.
You Polly Walnuts?
God damn it. Anyway.
Don't say and stuff.
Hey, Ma, what time I was born at?
Come on down to the cement mixer. My dead dad is back.
Mom and M's fixing to go down to Sematary, say hi to Pa. So she's like,
well, you were born at 11:55 a.m.
Can you tell me more about that day?
And it was like, oh my God, her kid is just like Wolfram Alpha, right? It's like one of those like chatbots from the early 2000s where you talk to it until you finally were like, okay, now it sounds like a robot.
Yeah.
And all it does is just reflect, you're like, the robot asks like, what did you do? I went to a baseball game. How long have you liked baseball?
Like, oh, this is interesting.
Do you have a favorite baseball team?
Yep.
Why is the daughter asking the questions that you have to ask the daughter to get them to tell you detail one about all 8 hours they spent outside of the house today?
Yeah.
What'd you do at school? I don't know.
Stuff.
Can you tell me more about that day?
It's a pleasing inversion, but are we too moppetry? Because Audrey is a tough sit in this one, and I can't be mad at the kid. She's perfectly cute and I think does the best that she can. But if you're going to use a child as a plot device in a Hallmark movie, I guess go for it. A lot of other people have done it before. But the combination of, as you said, like load-bearing plot shit that she has to do, and then the fact that she's constantly doing it while being like, Mommy, at the end of it is, that's a big oh brother for me on that one.
I don't think that most of this is on the actress. I think 90% of it is on the plot and what she's been asked to do. Like, if you want to use a kid in the plot, fine, but please use the child sparingly.
Yeah.
This, to me, was a 4.5 out of 5 because the 0.5 that's missing is just turning every R into a W.
Yeah, it's as hard as you can go. I would go 4.5 too. I think that's fair. In the same way that I'm going to give this like a much lower rating than I've given basically any other movie. This is the highest volume of moppetry. Like, it's just wildly out of bounds with what we're used to here.
All right, so let me hit you with 2 quick hit segments we don't normally do. First one.
Hit me with that shit.
Whoa, wife chat. I got remarried. I did not tell her to watch this movie.
Good.
Because I'm trying to start out on the right foot this time.
Yeah.
We didn't have a gazebo. You know?
I know. Well, they don't have those in Florida because
I've moved on. I realized that I was supposed to be looking for the gazebo within. So I feel like emotionally I'm in an emotional gazebo now.
You took my advice and listened to your heart.
Yes, I wanted to go and try again. I knew I was hurt the first time, but that's no reason to give up.
May I have your lunch?
Yes.
But only if I can have yours.
Hey, Dave, I got the Mott's.
Yeah, this is, a pizza with nothing? But in Trump's economy, that's what we're all going to be eating.
You can have the Mott's, but I'm going to be frank with you. I got to have my Pops.
I think it's fair. I appreciate you putting the cards on the table there. I did not watch this with my wife, and I'm very pleased that I didn't. This was one that she is away. She's on a business trip. This was 100% solo, one man only in the apartment watching this while screen sharing from my computer to my TV. So everything was a little bit out of sync. And I am glad that I did not have to put her through that.
That's the way to do it.
Yep.
Alone with your shame.
Yeah.
Like the Maxell ad, if instead of listening to really high fidelity stereo, he was just masturbating.
Yeah. Masturbating to the sound of Wayne Newton singing Marshmallow World in the Winter.
That's right. It wasn't a martini in the glass, Dave. That's all I'll say.
Moving on.
Who's the real villain? Despite demanding bosses and evil developers and meddling exes, etc., there is almost always a bad guy that Hallmark did not take into consideration. Most of the time, we're very clever and we're like, guess what? It's capitalism. David, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't want to date this episode too much, but I'm pretty sure the villain is a political leadership that dangles full citizenry or something like full solvency in front of a mostly captive underclass whose lives they spend with such contempt that they cannot bother to contrive a pretext for the insult ahead of time.
That's more or less what I had in my notes too, pretty much verbatim. What I did have in there is I feel like endless war in the Middle East is souring the vibe or something to that effect. And yes, it is 100%. Whenever you made this, the idea of like his body was lost over the Gulf of Aden, you're killing the vibe.
Yeah.
And also you're reminding me of how shitty the actual world is.
Why couldn't he have gone like, there could have been a squall and a training exercise off Guam.
Yeah.
All he was doing is like sheltering merchant shipping with some cruisers. I don't know.
I mean, this is not like a romantic con. I don't know what the fuck kind of movie this actually is. But there's a lot of, like, a man says the words insurgents to someone in this, Yeah. The Gulf of Aden is mentioned like 5 different times. Like, it is a really explicitly on that GWOT shit.
All right, so we got to rate this thing. We have a 5-star rating system. 5 stars could be a family movie in the slower parts of the year. 4 stars, the juiciest taco, which we named after purportedly the best food in a park in Vancouver that looked like it was part of a temperate rainforest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I watched the couple seasons of Alone recently. Anyway, 3 stars, there are some solids. 2 stars, very soft cheese. 1 star, sugary and extremely wet. You can always go for a half point if you need one. I needed one. Where were you?
I'm between half and 1. Like, I really couldn't stand it.
I don't think we ever really gave 0. So I thought 1 was kind of our lower boundary.
So let's say 1.
1.5 because they did try to have I guess like a weather and object controlling troop, like martial force. There was force.
Yes,
David, what we had was force projection into the astral plane.
I mean, that's a good term for what they're projecting outwards in this film. That is basically, there is astral projecting in uniform in this movie. 1 star is perfectly fine. Erin Cahill does her best. She looks great. She looks a little bit like Jordan Hudson, which I didn't appreciate. But otherwise, once you see it, it gets to be a little bit jarring. Like, she's like a prettier, Hallmark version of that.
I only have a few more months where we can publish this and have that reference mean anything.
I know. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
That half-life is fading.
He almost made a bowl game. Yeah. Overall, there's just precious little to hang your hat on. And all of the stuff that I have found like charming about bad Hallmark movies in the past is not charming to me here. So 1.
I wonder if maybe there would have been a little bit higher degree of daffiness if this were 2 years ago and the prospect of like, well, we're going to send that fucker back.
Yeah.
Wasn't there. And also if there wasn't the prospect of like, we're going to send him back and there's literally no reason. Maybe he dies.
Yeah.
Okay.
The wrong movie at the wrong time. But it did deliver on, to go back to our like where we got this from. It definitely did what it said on the box vis-a-vis being super fucked up. So hats off there.
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's get to the leftovers. It's stuff that didn't go anywhere else. And this movie had a lot of it. I just want to play 2 quick clips of news broadcasts that we get incidentally in the movie. I think you probably enjoyed these as much as I did.
Oh, yeah.
This snowstorm seems to have come out of nowhere. And get this, it'll disappear just as fast as it came.
It came what of where?
Regular speed. So this is the Canadian part of Virginia.
Right.
Scarborough.
Yeah.
If you're out in this storm, you are going to be sorry.
And then the second one was a male newscaster who we get toward the end. And oh my God, there's a lot of words that should not be in any of these orders in this movie. And here are some.
So we're looking at a white Christmas, folks. I'll have more on the falling temperatures later in the hour. Back to you, Scott.
The dance is on. Yay, great.
A Marine Corps Special Operations team has infiltrated an enemy compound in Yemen. We are getting word that several prisoners have been rescued in the mission. We'll bring you the latest details as they come into the newsroom.
Yeah, they're not going to break into the news for that.
This is a depressing point that I will make. We were goofing on the fact that when she was doing her mourning, she was looking at like the newspaper that was reporting the story about like all these Marines getting shot down again over the Gulf of Aden, the famous Gulf of Aden that we love to talk about on the Hallmark podcast. And there's something about that story and then this. It's like one of the more fantastical aspects of this movie is a world in which it's still reported in a significant way when American troops die.
That also, that the initial reports involve, we've rescued a bunch of prisoners who aren't Americans at all.
Yeah.
And why would we report on that?
Yeah.
Where's the human interest? There aren't humans involved to the American audience.
These non-citizens have been sent to Eswatini after being rescued as per national policy. It's weird. I mean, I guess this is just, you can't blame the movie for all of that, but like how much everything sucks does make what sucks about this movie suck more.
Yeah. Yeah. And also it made me want to nitpick more than I would have. Like I never would have bothered writing this down, but they make a huge character in this a general, and they keep pointing out that this base has 5,000 people on it. So when you have the annual tree lighting ceremony where it's for a bunch of Marines and 17 people total show up, and only 2 of them are Marines, I'm starting to believe that that's not actually a real Marine posting.
Yeah,
anywhere.
there's some of the sets in this are amazingly shoddy, even by Hallmark standards. There's a moment when Danielle is talking to the Christmas tree with the spirit of her husband in it. It is not shot outside. Like, it is demonstrably not shot outside. Like, the piles of fake snow are fabric.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is weird. Like, it's like dogma mode. It calls attention to how cheap it is. There's another moment where during the kid's birthday party where Pierce is romping around with the kids, and a couple of them fire snowballs at him, and the snowball it does not disintegrate on his coat. It just bounces off his back. Like, it's just like fully contiguous, like just a fabric chucked at him, pick it up. Like,
backed up 5 more yards.
Well, that was an icy one.
That was an icy one.
That was one of my earliest notes was, it is 100% May out.
Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, this is, even by the standards, I mean, we've seen many, many movies where it's like they're in Whistler, British Columbia in July and it's 90 degrees, but like everybody's trying. Like in this one, there's no attempt to make the snow look like snow, other than the opening montage with the snowy gazebo on it.
Speaking of the opening montage, the music in this, there's so much music in this that I was writing down, like maybe I was going to go back and see if this was a real song, and I didn't. I may, I don't know, put one as the outro, but good Lord.
Yeah, a lot of like really off-brand, faintly countrified songs that, like the one that plays at the end of it, which plays for like a long time. Like it's like the famous scene from The Newsroom where they like flipped a Coldplay song to make it 7 minutes long so that it could play over an entire montage of everybody getting a shooting right. This was not a Coldplay song. This was just like a song that was basically like reiterating the themes of the film about like how like family is important or whatever.
The last bit I just wrote down was, "Oh, the sweet simplicity of a loving family. I'm coming out of the cold. From the sidewalk, I see the glow." This isn't, right. You asked an AI to like, okay, you're in love with a Thomas Kincaid painting. Go.
Yep. Sure, I can do that. After all, it's not just Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year. I tried to, did you hear the M dash in there?
Yes.
I was trying to get it in. Yeah.
What else did you have? I'm sure you have more IMDb material.
Not as much. We talked about a lot of it at the beginning. The one bit that I wanted to signal out. So Charlie Weber, Colby, we did talk, 90 episodes of How to Get Away with Murder. Great work if you can get it. He has done, a decent number of Hallmark things, but he's done some like sort of DTV action stuff. One of which is one of my favorite inexplicable franchises was the Sam Mendes movie Jarhead, which had Jake Gyllenhaal and Jamie Foxx and like had some good stuff in it. It was well made anyway. Has weirdly had a long second life through a series of mostly unrelated cheapo action movies that have like direct to Redbox.
It was based on a book that was like 190 pages.
Yes. And it was a memoir.
Yeah. It wasn't a big, they were not large dimensions. It was like, this is something that like Khalil Gibran is published in dimension wise.
It wasn't a big hit or anything like that. Like it was like a movie about like being in the first Gulf War and how it like kind of actually sucked ass and you never got to do anything. And like everybody that you served with is weird. And
and like my chest feels weird because all I did was stand around burn pits.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Very much that. And so the idea that you would then take that and turn it into like Kill Squad 2.
Right.
So Charlie Weber was in Jarhead 3, which is unrelated to the previous 2 Jarheads.
Jarhead 3, failure is not an option.
Jarhead 3 is 3D. Other actors in Jarhead 3, Scott Adkins, the Cockney kickboxing action movie ace, who's done some good stuff. Lil Romeo, the son of Master P. He's now just Romeo Miller. He's in that. And Dennis Haysbert and Charlie Weber all in it. So go ahead and check it out. Don't do it, though. Don't really watch it. Just something you could look up or just know that it's a real movie.
I did have one other music note. After there's a bit where Danielle is conflicted about what to do. And she's like, don't judge me for what I'm going to do. And she goes to like the Christmas tree that they have the tree lighting ceremony for and talks to dead dad Colby through that. And then the lights flicker. And then right after that, they cut to another one of those generic songs. And the lyrics are literally together at Christmas, 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 together at Christmas. And I just started hearing it in the same cadence as NoFX's Kill All the White Man.
Could you sing Together at Christmas to the tune of Detachable Penis? You could basically make the syllables work, right?
We were together at Christmas in St. Mark's Place.
He wanted $10 for the mistletoe, but I got him down to $9.
I brushed it off and kissed her. Which one of our friends was doing a thing where they had to call somebody for some sort of contract law and they got John S. Hall and they were like, you sound like the guy from King Missile. And he was like, I am the guy from King Missile.
Guy from King Missile. This is what I do now.
Yeah. Maybe it was Patty. I don't know.
You thought I fucking retired off Detachable Penis? No, right. I went to law school, my friend.
I had one hit and only in college towns. I was big in Tallahassee. That translates to nothing.
Also, I had the type of college rock hit that like maybe never even got me laid.
Right.
That like it was only for boys.
Yeah. The one last thing I did have was at the first Christmas tree lighting, Colby gets up there and he's like, there are so many lights. Do you want to guess how many are up there? And a small kid is like, 1,000. And he says, close. 2,000.
I have that in my notes too. Nope.
That's literally half.
No, you're not that close. No.
If you guessed 4 and it were 5,
that
would be close.
You correctly noticed that there were some lights up there, but you're wrong as shit.
Kid, you fucking disgust me. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
1,000 lights.
1,000. Yeah, because I'm a fucking asshole. I'm going to put 1,000 lights up here and then go out and like a little kid's going to guess it right away. No, 2,000. Have your parents take you home.
Merry Christmas. Oorah, Dave.
Oorah, Jeb. And Merry Christmas.
Civilization!
This episode of Astral Projection with the Festive Undead was executive produced by Mac Mashburn, Big Joe D, and all our friends down at the Jasper Group LLC, and by you, the Patreon donor, in conjunction with Vigorous Marvin. Vigorous Marvin! Never stop mourning. Special thanks today to Drew Fairweather, a.k.a. Crudbump, for our theme music, and to Chris Collingwood of Look Park and Fountains of Wayne for all the rest, except where specified in the show notes. Like, subscribe, rate, and review us. It helps people find the show. And follow us on Blue Sky at itschristmastown.bsky.social for around 80 hours of bonus material, including Fever Dream, our public health breakdown, Jeb and Maura's awful party, and a day's worth of Hallmark podcasts. Plunk down 10 cents per day at patreon.com/thisweekinatrocity. Thanks for listening. Merry Christmas, and talk to you soon.
It's not Hallmark Hall of Fame. It's not Hall of Fame. It's not that high quality. There's a Hall of Very Good. If there's a Hallmark Hall of Very Good, sure.
Bitch, I fucking brought your fucking cat back from the dead, and you try to kill her by giving her regular water.
Fucking thing sucks!